The café terrace breathed out the afternoon steam from porcelain cups, citrus from polished wood, the low chime of cutlery touching plates. Sunlight slid along the river and climbed the linen tablecloths, pausing on a single man seated alone at the edge. His suit was the color of storm clouds, perfectly pressed, expensive enough to quiet a room without a word. He sat with his back straight, jaw set, eyes moving over numbers on a tablet as if the world were a spreadsheet waiting to be balanced. When the plate arrived, it carried a soft perfume, olive oil warmed by bread, rosemary, a faint sweetness of tomatoes blistered just right. The billionaire Elias Rowan set the tablet aside. Hunger had a way of reminding him he was human. He reached for his fork. "Don't eat that." The voice was thin but steady. It came from just beyond the terrace rail, where the shade gathered like a second sidewalk. A girl stood there with a bowl held close to her chest, knuckles pale from the grip. She couldn't have been more than 13. Her dress was washed thin, a blue that had known too many rivers. Hair escaped a loose braid and lifted in the breeze, brushing her cheek. Her eyes were the color of rain just before it falls. Elias didn't look up. The world interrupted him often. He'd learned the cost of attention. "Please," she said, softer now. "Don't." A waiter shifted, embarrassed. Elias cut into the bread. The crust sighed. He lifted a bite, and that was when the girl moved, not forward, not touching him, just stepping into the light so the sun found her hands. She tipped the bowl. A sound rang out, wrong for a place like this. A clatter that wasn't coin. Clear and sharp. Something skittered across the stone near his shoe and caught the sun. Glass. Elias froze. The fork hovered, then lowered. He followed the line of light to the thin shard resting against the leg of his chair, clean as ice. The girl's bowl trembled. Inside it, mixed with rice and wilted greens, were more slivers, small, cruel stars. "I cut my tongue," she said, matter of fact, as if stating the weather. She touched her lip, a bead of red bloomed and was gone. There in the bread basket from the back. The crate broke. The café seemed to exhale. The river kept moving. Elias felt his pulse in his ears, a drum he hadn't heard in years. He stood. The chair whispered against stone. He crouched and picked up the shard. It was thin enough to be missed, sharp enough to change a life. He turned it between his fingers and imagined it sliding unseen into a bite, imagined blood where there should have been warmth. The waiter's face drained. The manager appeared, then the chef, then apologies stacked like plates. The basket was taken away. The terrace watched and pretended not to. Elias looked at the girl. Up close, he saw the tired patience in her posture, the way she held herself ready for refusal. He saw how carefully she watched his hands, not his face. "You saved me," he said, and meant it. She shrugged, a small lift of shoulders. "I didn't want you to get hurt." "What's your name?" "Mara." He ordered water and a clean plate, then pushed it toward her without asking. She hesitated, the bowl still tight against her ribs. "It's all right," he said. "Please." She ate slowly, as if each bite needed permission. The sounds of the café softened around them, the clink and murmur receding, replaced by the quieter music of relief. Elias felt something loosen in his chest, a knot he hadn't known was there. When she finished, he asked where she slept. She pointed upriver. When he asked where her parents were, her eyes moved to the water and stayed there. The truth came later, not in words but in paper and time. Elias funded a shelter that winter, one that kept its doors open past dusk and hired people who knew how to listen. Mara didn't disappear into it. She helped build it. She learned to read invoices the way he once read markets, learned to see where things could break before they did. Years on, the cafe closed. The river kept moving. Elias kept the shard in his desk drawer, wrapped in linen. A reminder that vision isn't always sight, that sometimes it takes a glint of danger to make a person finally look up. Kindness, he learned, doesn't shout. It steps into the light and lets the truth ring once, clean and unmistakable. If this story touched your heart and moved you in any way, please like the video, comment, share it with someone who need a little hope today, and make sure you subscribe to Humanity Diaries. Your support helps us continue emotional and meaningful stories to the world. Please comment below which part of story touched you the most.